Congratulations on everything that you're doing, including Lantern's Lane. What a creepy little film that is.
Yeah, so creepy.
Tell me a little bit about earning your bachelor's degree at USC. That's my alma mater.
Is there really? Well, fight on. Well, I grew up in a small town outside Seattle, and I always wanted to be an actress. I was doing plays like Les Mis and Footloose down in Seattle from 10 years old on, and my mom said, you can't be an actress unless you get your degree. So that's in sixth grade. I was like, okay, well, where can I go and how do I go to LA? And, Defiant. And I saw that had one of the best theater schools. So I auditioned and got in and I went, and it was an incredible experience. Some of my teachers, Mary Jo Negro, was one of the people that when I was cheering at USC pulled me aside and was like, quit all this crap, like focus on acting. That's what you're supposed to do. And I'll never forget her. So it was a good experience for me.
I would imagine being a dancer too is important. I think there are rhythms and cadences in acting.
Of course, I think just knowing your body and being able to be connected to your body. I think so many people walk through life not knowing how they function. Even Denzel Washington says he knows exactly every piece of his face and how it moves. And that's something that I want to be a full-bodied experience because that's how humans are. And then to be able to change that and shift that depending on who you're playing is so important. So people don't see Brooke every time. They see, they can go to the movies and disappear and relate and connect and escape COVID.
Well, that's the thing, is to escape reality for just an hour or two and
right.
Also enjoy life a little bit.
Right.
Are you good at auditioning, or do you just hate to audition?
No, I love it. Even I had an audition that I worked on this week, and it was based on a book. And I had 24 hours. I read all 300 pages of the book in one night and studied and just loved every second, because then I was like, okay, this is not just this scene, I can layer it. And I was just having like the time of my life. And I'm like, no matter what happens with that 24 hours was like magic for me because I learned something. And I think every time you get a chance, whether or not you book the role or not, to work on something and learn something from a character, that's why I do it. It's what I love. And
I noticed your resume, you have done a lot, in your small time here on Earth. I mean, you have a very impressive resume. Is every set that you go on some kind of education?
Oh, 100%, because you're always working with different personalities. And I've really learned to be quiet and listen and watch and learn people. And then from that, I'm like, okay, well, now I know who they are. So now I know in this scene how to push their buttons. Because, right, like Tony doesn't, like, let's say like I'm Mary and you're Jim. They don't really exist. Tony exists and Brooke exists. So I need to know how to affect you in that scene and being able to get along with all kinds of different.
I don't think they teach that in Meisner.
No, Meisner as well, but yeah, that's more Stanislavski.
As an actress, though, do you find yourself sitting and go to the mall and just watching people or listening to dialects and things like that?
Oh, of course, I love it. I practice British and Southern because I think if I were to play anything, those two kind of click. But I would say my friends say I'm a question asker. I'm like, well, why did you make that choice? And well, how did that make you feel? I think even my fiance is like, if you ask me, how did that make me feel one more time? But I think that's how you learn people, right? Because every single person on earth has a different filter at which they're approaching situations with. And learning like the different ways that different people tick will allow me to then maybe steal that from them or take that from them and use it in what I'm doing.
The journey to Lantern's Lane, I should say, is kind of interesting. Was there a heavy audition for it, or was the part written for you?
No, I did audition for it, but then when I ended up having the callback and talking to the director, he said I was on his short list, and I was like, because he had seen me in Ozark and liked the energy that I brought to that. But it was also during the time of COVID. It was at the beginning of 2020 when that happened. We were one of the first films to be in production. It was us, I think, and Avatar. And so we were more of a small little indie project, which brought our cast really close together because we're like, okay, we have to protect each other. And we are a close group of friends in this film. So we really did establish that camaraderie and become close, staying in this little town in Sonora that was apparently haunted, which added to the terror that we were feeling on set. And I think that comes across.
I've never asked this question of someone in a horror film, but is it hard to scream and keep that level of intensity up?
No, I actually love it. And I sing as well. So I think I know how to use my voice without wasting it and using it properly. But I'm someone who will, even if I have a really dramatic, quiet scene, will take a pillow. This is from my acting coach, Lee Kilton Smith, and I'll scream into the pillow to release all of that. And then you're like raw in the moment. So I think everyone needs a good scream every once in a while.
Everybody needs a good scream. Everybody needs a good jump scare in a good horror film.
Right.
Just to kind of rinse the palate, so to speak.
Right. And it can't be a scream just to be a scream. It has to come from somewhere. It has to come from fear of your life.
And the intensity in Lantern's Lane is there. I mean, it's got a nice build to it.
Okay.
Did you enjoy the script when you got it? I mean, was it an immediate like, wow, I want to do this?
I think it was two-part. I think I was like sitting at home during quarantine and like, I was in class and doing things and reading and working on myself. But I was like, I just want to get on set and create and work. And I saw this character on the page and I was like, well, there's so much more there. Like, what is Layla's arc, right? Because was maybe the mean girl in high school and she left her small town, went to the big city, and she's changed. And she's come back and everyone expects her to be the same. So it's her navigating the fear of everyone thinks I'm still this girl, but I'm not anymore, and how she like proves that to herself and where she ends up at the end. I think at first I judged her. I was like, I never liked the mean girl behavior. I always retreated from it as Brooke personally, but then I had to dig deeper and say, well, so many people, every single person on earth makes mistakes and they have to face that fear. I was like, at least she's facing it. And, along with those personal fears, she's facing real fears, and that's how that all kind of.
And I think that's the homework you have to do as an actor is if there's no backstory written for your character, you've got to mentally create something to give her that truth.
Right. Or else it's flat. Right.
Are you looking at directing someday?
I would love to. I find it fascinating. It also terrifies me, but I feel like one of my strong suits is connecting with actors and seeing things in a certain way. Even the way that I work, I like to learn who I'm working with. For example, I became close with Ashley Doris, who plays Missy, and we were at lunch and she was telling me some personal stories, and I said, is it okay if I use that? I want to get your approval to use that if I can while we're, working. And she said yes. Careful when you say yes to me. And then we have this one emotional scene, and she just wasn't feeling it. And I just whispered in her ear something that I can't repeat. And she just looked at me, was pissed at me, and then went, "Gosh," and I was like, "Roll." So I just think being able to say one or two words without being like, yeah, and then this, and then it just has to be knowing what makes people tick.
Don't ever lose that. I mean, I know a lot of actors over my career that now they just, basically phone it in and they don't do the work that they used to do. And I don't know why they lose that. They lose a passion, I think, for their career.
it's losing the love of it, and you can't do that. I mean, I'm so blessed every day. I'm like, I wake up and I play make-believe for a living and I pretend to be other people, and this is the coolest thing in the world. You know, even if it doesn't go anywhere, even if I don't get the part, I always enjoy working on something and creating something.
What do you think audiences are going to take away from Lanterns Lane?
Well, I do think, first of all, the legend is real. Lanterns Lane is a real place. So knowing that, I also just think it's not what you think it's going to be. People are like, oh, urban legend, yeah. But there's a twist that I don't think people have seen before. And I hope that people find a character to relate to in each one of us and think, well, would I have done that? Could I have done that? Or would I have run? Would I have fought? What would I have done? And I hope just gets people thinking about what they would have done in that scenario.
Are your parents fully involved with your career too? I know that you need support, a family, when you're, doing this.
They're not involved. They were always like, I guess I was always my own thing. And they just were like, oh, okay, she's going to go do it. But they are supportive, and I have wonderful, wonderful parents. I'm not one of those actors that believes you have to like hate your parents to be a good actor. I have lots of pain that comes from other places that I can use, but they're like, okay, if you want to do this. And I think once they saw me performing on stage, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, you can go do this. But
when did you fall in love with acting and performing? Was it at a very, very early age?
Child, baby. I think when I was 5, my parents took me to see Phantom of the Opera. And I guess I cried the whole time. And I said, I want to make people feel how Christine made me feel. And my parents were like, you're 5. How do you even know what that means? I think I was crying at the little toaster when I was 3. So I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, I always.
Maybe in a former life you were an actress.
Well, my grandma was an actress as well, and she never got to live out her dream, because she was born during the Great Depression, et cetera, et cetera. But her first kiss was Ronald Reagan on stage, on a stage play. So I like to think I'm trying to fulfill the destiny that she didn't get to fulfill.
Well, I think it's generational. I think if you got it in your blood, it's something that you can't do. I mean, you have to do it.
Right.
And, you're drawn to it, but the singing and musical end of it as well. I mean, do you enjoy musical theater? Did you do that when you were in high school?
I love musical theater. Yeah, I even performed in Scotland when I was 16, traveled there and performed. I play not super well, but I play piano and guitar, and I like singing. It's kind of like the private moments I have to myself. Imagine how the characters would sing. And
my Tevye would make you cry.
Really?
And not for anything good. It was just terrible.
Well, I'll be the judge of that.
Never mind. Anyway, I think everybody starts there, and they get the bug in high school or even earlier. And that immediate response from the audience is so, it washes over you, and it makes you feel whole, I think, in a way.
Right. I mean, trust me, if there's anything else I thought I could do, I would be like failing, but I can't. I don't know.
Your time on Ozark was a wonderful arc. Did you enjoy series television?
Oh, yes. I mean, I love it, especially a series like that. That's the direction I'd like my career to go. I mean, I feel like I haven't even scratched the surface. I feel like I'm just beginning. And I love playing those grittier characters where I get to, dirty it up and wear no makeup and, just like have the strength and the power and, maybe be a character that's full of shame, or I just love that. But on the other end of the spectrum, I like to crack a joke. So I'm like, where do you put me? But,
what do you lean as an actress toward, more toward comedy or toward drama?
I never know how to answer this question, because I think my friends that know me, I'm always like making a joke. But then I think in my private time, I mean, I've been through a lot of health things in my life that no one knows about, and have gone through some real serious things where I'm like, I relate to the depth of that too, which doesn't always match what I look like. So I'm trying to carve my way into that world somehow.
Does improv help you?
Improv?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love improv. I used to do it. I also like to improvise in a scene. Sometimes I just did a movie called A Day to Die with Bruce Willis and Frank Grillo, and Kevin Dillon was playing my husband, and we had have this bathroom scene, husband-wife scene in the bathroom. Can't give too much away, but I ended up improvising a bunch of it, and we shot it in one take, and they were like, yeah, okay, we're done there.
This portion of Screen Chatter is presented by VP Dental. Check out our great dental plans starting at just $16 per month. Now that Daniel Day-Lewis has retired, do you feel pressure on you now to be the greatest actor in the world?
I feel the pressure to be the best version of me that I can do and serve every character. But yeah, we'll see if he's retired. I don't know. Hopefully he's got another one in there.
You're really a lot of fun to talk to because I know you like what you do, and it's great to love but you also like it. And I think you're one of those people that can't wait to get to set and get made up and all of that.
Oh yeah, I'm there like a half hour early. I'm like, okay, what would my character this and my character that? And I love the whole creative process. I love working with crews and becoming close with the crews because, without them, nothing happens.
Yeah, it's true. You had a great crew on Lanterns Lane. These guys.
Oh my God. I cannot tell you how hard they worked. I mean, because we were on night shift hours. I mean, we as actors were there at 7 p.m. and went till 7 a.m., but they were there longer. And we had a really small crew because of COVID protocol. And I was just blown away. I hope I get to work with every single one of those crew members again because it became a little family. So.
Well, that's what I like about independent movies. I've said this more than once. I mean, you're doing a movie on basically the catering budget for Ozark.
Right.
So everybody's wearing different hats, and it's really a lot of fun to be able to roll up your sleeves and get involved heart and soul with a movie.
Right. There's almost more collaboration because everyone's like, okay, this is blood, sweat, and tears. Like, let's do this. Let's get in there. Sure, I'll try that. Okay, I'm crawling in the dirt. Don't care. Like, it's there's something almost more magical about it sometimes.
In your career, did you model?
I did. I don't love it.
Most people I talk to say never again because it's just, first of all, it's crappy, and then secondly, it's seedy as well in a lot of places.
Right. And I did some really cool modeling stuff when I was younger, but my brain doesn't want to just be a piece of meat, even though I think modeling's beautiful. I love looking at other people who are excellent at it, but I don't know. I'm like, I want to be weird, make a joke, and talk to everyone, and they're like, shh. I'm like, I can't.
What's the worst advice anyone's given you in this career?
Oh, I did have someone once tell me, a casting director, that she didn't see any roles where I could play it with because my hair was long, and she told me to cut my hair off up here, which I would totally do for a role, but I was kind of thought that was
get the money first.
Right. I was like, I think, or like, I think if your acting's good, like I'm hoping that people are creative enough to be like, okay, yeah, we'll dye your hair brown because I'll do any of that. I'd shave my head. I would do whatever, but I still want to be me on my off days.
Actresses will, do for the part, but just to change your look, look, because your headshots are getting old is you don't need it.
Right. And then I was like looking at all the actresses I love and look up to, and I was like, not seeing that. But I'd do whatever, but I just thought that was.
How important is your team? I mean, your agent, your manager, how important is that to you?
They're everything. They're like my lifeline connection to get to the next part. I mean, Jack at Zero Gravity is my manager. He's excellent. Tanya at HRI, they're, pushing for me and believe in me. And that's all I can ask for.
I really do think you have a marvelous future, marvelous career in front of you. You're a very kind person. I know that just from talking with you, but you're also very talented. It's hard for people to understand that, what you do, especially in Lantern's Lane, that's claustrophobic. It's tight shots. It's shadow, but you shine in this movie.
Oh, thank you. It was hard for me because I'm used to being the character with a little bit of comedic relief, or on the grittier side, and she's the straight character. And I was like, oh, people are gonna like her. She's kind of like, I don't want to do this. I don't want. So I had to find where that came from, and it was hard for me to not make the joke.
Cool.
But yeah, I hope people relate to it.
Millions of people are losing their dental coverage every year or can't afford dental care due to the high cost. Just a simple cleaning can cost over $100. But there is an answer, TDA. For about $1 a day, Total Dental Administrators covers over 200 dental procedures. Whether you're an individual, a family, self-employed, or retired, TDA has a plan that's right for you, starting about $1 a day. So call or click for your free information kit and see how affordable dental health can be.
This portion of Screen Chatter is presented by VP Dental. Check out our great dental plans starting at just $16 per month. You are a delight.
Oh, thank you. That was
and I really do want you to do more. You are just a lovely, lovely person, and thank you for your time today.
Thank you. We're just beginning.
I know. And we're going to be friends, I'll tell you that. Brooke, you take care. Have a wonderful day.
You as well. Thank you so much.